I'm Brett Eaton with Green Cherry Organics, and we are a vertically integrated hemp company from genetics all the way to consumer products. Our focus is to create the best quality products that we can. And so to start with that process, we went out and got a USDA certified organic certification on our hemp operation. This is our flower house, greenhouses. We have 11 greenhouses. So what you see behind me is the first of some plants that are coming in. This is a new genetic, a R&D trial for nutrition, insect and disease resistance. We'll have two-spotted spider mite, cannabis aphid. Those are our really number one, number two pest in the greenhouse. Being a USDA certified organic operation, there's really only a few things that we can do in order to maintain compliance. We do that with a combination of different products and sprays when we have to, or we release biologicals, things like ladybugs, lacewings, predator wasps, predator mites. We have already done an initial trial with the Organishield product, and it worked great, and so now we're taking that to a little larger scale and seeing how it performs indoors in a greenhouse at full production. So when we're at full capacity, we have roughly around 70,000 plants in the building. So it's very important to us to have a product that we can spray on these plants that gives us the best bang for the buck, the most impact, and the longest duration between sprays that we can get. We try to minimize the amount of sprays that we can, and with our first trial of Organishield, we were able to get a really good pushback. I'd say roughly a 90% pushback on mites, maybe around a 75 to 80% pushback on aphids. By second spray, we were virtually non-existent. So what we do see with organics is that typically in a greenhouse, you're dealing with things like Botrytis, Phytophthora, Fusarium. The goal is to get the clone to root quicker than those things take over. What we noticed with the Organishield product is that a single application really pushed back the Botrytis and the Phytophthora. We didn't have the growth that we typically have, and it looks like as we stand right now, we might be closer to about a 90 to 95% rooting success because of that. So we are seeing higher yield from a rooting standpoint by using that product. One thing that we also noticed as well is we deal with fungus gnats and shore flies here in the greenhouse. The larvae of those insects basically hatch in the soil, and they'll feed off the root material in the soil, and so it's problematic if you have a large population of fungus gnat larvae or shore fly larvae, because as soon as your plant roots, they chew the root off and the plant dies. We did a soak with Organishield on these clones here, and immediately we saw a reduction in shore fly and fungus gnat. So in the past, you could run your hand across the plants, and as soon as you would see the shore fly and the fungus gnats, all the adults kind of stir up and fly around. After one application of Organishield, I can run my hands across the plants and I'm getting no shore fly or fungus gnats coming up. These are new genetic that are actually highly susceptible to spider mites. When these plants were 3 foot tall, we ended up seeing a spike in spider mites. I'd say about 10 to 15% of them got to the point to where we saw webbing already starting on the plants. Most of the other plants had already seen damage. You could find mites on pretty much all of these plants behind us. So our first trial with the Organishield products, we sprayed at about 3 foot tall. With that first spray, we got about 90% pushback on the mites. That was incredible, better than anything I've ever seen from all the other sprays that we're allowed to use in organic production. So that was pretty eye-opening there as to the quality of the Organishield product and how quick it worked. I mean, you're talking within minutes, not hours, of seeing mites just completely die off. And so that was really promising, and we kept an eye on it for the better part of a week, and we still saw some mites around. With the Organishield product, my understanding is that it's got to come into contact with an actual adult in order to kill it. And so you'll have some eggs and some larvae and things like that that will come up after an initial spray. And so you just want to monitor that and spray when you start to see more mite damage or more adults. And so what we saw with the second spray in this house was dissolving of all the webs. So the first spray, even though we hit the ones with webs, we still had some webs there, even though the mites weren't really on it. But the second spray, we actually dissolved the webs on there to where we couldn't even see the webs anymore and got another pushback. In this house, you're talking about maybe 6 to 7 weeks worth of growth here. So over that period of time, we've sprayed 4 applications of Organishield. So we're about 3 weeks in since our last spray, and we don't see mites hardly at all. I don't think we'll have to spray again. We've got about 9 weeks left on these plants, and we're going to monitor that as it goes into the flower stage. If we do get to the flower stage and need to spray, the nice thing about the Organishield product is there's no residual with that product, and so that's what's really intriguing to me as a farmer, especially an indoor farmer, is that being able to have a product that we can use in organic production in the flower state without any residuals left on. Most of your oil-based products, you're going to have a residual on there. It's going to pass through to the flower, through the processing stage and all that. Organishield does not do that, and so I'm really intrigued and really interested to see how that's going to perform in a flowering plant. So far, to date, we've only used it on vegetative plants, and it works incredibly well. Our goal with this greenhouse here, and the reason we took the roof off, is to convert it to a mushroom house. We're going to be adding culinary mushroom, gourmet mushroom production to our hemp production. Mushrooms are susceptible to scared fly, and we'll be testing an application on that. With the benefits I've seen from Organishield on our hemp plants, I have a lot of faith that Organishield is going to do great things for our mushroom operation.